My aunt slammed the attic door shut and whispered, "If you open that box, you'll ruin everything." The hinges groaned as she forced it tighter, her knuckles white around the old brass knob, and I could feel the weight of her warning settle over me like a curtain. I was 17, living in a cramped coastal apartment that smelled of salt and old wood, and for years I'd believed the stories my aunt told about my family were as solid as the lighthouse that guided boats home. But that night the attic's stale air carried something else, a secret sealed tighter than any lock. The box sat in the corner, wrapped in a faded quilt my grandmother had sewn, its edges frayed from years of being moved, hidden, and covered up. My aunt said it held old photographs, letters from a long-lost cousin, and a few trinkets that meant nothing to anyone but her. I believed her, until I found a torn page beneath a stack of yellowed newspapers. The words leapt out: birth certificate, April 12, 1999, hospital, St. Mercy. The name printed beneath read, Evelyn Harper. My own name, Jenna, glowed on a different line, a different date, a different hospital. The realization hit like a wave crashing against the cliffs outside my window. I was not who I thought I was. I pulled the box open. Inside lay a stack of letters tied with a ribbon, each addressed to my dearest daughter, signed by a woman named Mara. The letters spoke of a pregnancy, a hospital stay, and a baby placed for adoption after a sudden illness. The final letter ended abruptly. "I hope you understand why I had to let you go." My mind raced, trying to piece together a life I'd never lived. Before I could process any of it, the attic door burst open. My aunt stood there, eyes flashing with anger and fear. "You weren't supposed to see that," she hissed, stepping forward. "You don't understand what this means." She reached for the box, trying to snatch it away, but I held it tighter, the weight of the truth grounding my hands. "Why?" I demanded, voice shaking but steady. "Why did you keep this from me? From everyone?" She swallowed, throat working. "Because you weren't supposed to know. Your mother." She stopped, eyes flickering to a distant memory. "Your mother died when you were 3. I took you in because I couldn't bear to see you alone. I thought I was protecting you, but I also kept you from the truth that could destroy you." The room seemed to shrink, the cramped attic pressing in on all sides. All my life I'd been told I was the child of my aunt and uncle, that my parents had died in a car accident when I was 5. The story had been a convenient shield. Now that shield was ripped away, exposing a past I never asked for. "I'm not going to erase this," I said, voice firmer now. "I'm not going to pretend it never happened. I'm going to learn what I can from it, and I'm going to live with it." My aunt's shoulders slumped, tension easing just enough for a small genuine smile to break through. "You're right," she whispered. "You deserve the truth, even if it hurts." We sat together on the dusty floorboards, the attic suddenly feeling less like a prison and more like a sanctuary, a place where truths could be examined without judgment. I read each letter slowly, absorbing the sorrow, the love, the desperation that had driven Mara to give me up. I learned I was not a mistake, but a child born into a circumstance that demanded sacrifice. I learned that my identity was not defined by the name on a certificate, but by the choices I made with the knowledge I now possessed. When the night grew deep and the city lights flickered like distant stars, I stood, stretched, and walked toward the window. The ocean stretched out below, endless and inviting. I thought about the future, about the paths I could take, the stories I could write, the people I could become. The conflict that had started with a slammed door, and a whispered warning ended with an open heart and a clearer mind. The lesson settled in me like tide-washed sand. Truth may be painful, but it is also liberating. Hiding it only builds walls that eventually crumble, while embracing it allows you to rebuild on a foundation that is yours alone. We read the letters together, the attic suddenly feeling less like a vault of shame and more like a place of possibility. "I'm proud of you," she whispered, and for the first time in years, the attic felt like a place of possibility rather than a vault of shame. And as I stepped out into the night, the wind carried a simple truth: the past can't be erased, but it can be faced, understood, and transformed into the strength that carries you forward.